Okay, I don't want anybody abandoning their offering this morning. Okay, I just want to be clear on that, so don't leave just yet. So it's week 3 of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Hashtag longest sermon ever. And we don't know how long he really spoke, and how much give and take there was with the audience, if any. But Jesus covers a lot of ground, so much so that it's difficult to take it all in at once. Any good preaching professor instructs students to pick a topic of the reading and focus in on it. Jesus breaks all those rules in the extreme. But then again, he's God, so I guess he can do whatever he wants. But in this section, we find Jesus teaching about rules, namely what we commonly call the Ten Commandments. The Big Ten cover quite a bit of ground themselves. The first 4 essentially cover what our relationship with God should be like, and the rest cover what our relationship to others is supposed to be. Jesus dives right into number 6. You shall not murder. And he exclaims, I'm telling you that anyone who is so much as angry with a brother or sister is guilty of murder. Carelessly call a brother idiot, and you just might find yourself hauled into court. Thoughtlessly yell stupid at a sister, and you're on the brink of hellfire. The simple moral fact is words kill. 2 men are dead in Trumbull County because of words posted on Facebook this week. I went with the Message interpretation of the Bible for this passage today because it does have the correct translation of one particular word: idiot. Jesus takes us to task for how we talk to one another. He's really got his hands full with the idiots on social media. It's pretty easy to say the careless word, isn't it? And we don't necessarily mean harm. We might even be joking. But maybe that's not how our words or actions are perceived. It might be enough to kill a relationship. I can recall a time of great animosity in this church when words I said about living our mission statement were misconstrued by another person. I knew the intention of my words, but they were interpreted as an attack. Contrary to my respect for that person and their position of responsibility. And this went on for over a month. And then on a communion Sunday, this verse hit me. If you enter your place of worship and about to make an offering, you suddenly remember a grudge a friend has against you, abandon your offering. Leave immediately. Go to this friend and make things right. Then and only then, come back and work things out with God. Even though I knew what I said and what my intentions were, that is not how the words were received. The only thing left to do was to try to salvage the relationship, was for me to apologize for the hurt that I caused. That was a tough phone call. Now, maybe the saying should be, pride goes before the call, right? Our pride gets in the way so often, doesn't it? As sincere as I tried to be, there was no way for me to control how the apology would be received any more than how my original intent was received. You can't make someone accept an apology. I had to accept that my words killed a relationship. Getting to the root of the problem requires some digging. It's rarely pleasant because usually it entails breaking through a tough, thick crust. How hard and cold the human heart can be. Friendships end. Families are torn apart over words that are best left unsaid or unread or never repeated. Nations are not immune. America is not so innocent. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, our government rounded up 120,000 Japanese Americans. Many of them, they were born here, okay? Native Americans, native-born Americans, not indigenous people Americans. Rounded up 120,000 of them and interred them in 7 camps. Despite separate Navy and FBI reports that said it wasn't necessary, one Army general prevailed with his words. I quote, "A Jap is a Jap." It's the same attitude in the 1800s that said the only good engine is a dead engine. It's the same attitude that says all Muslims are terrorists. Want to know why our government doesn't always do the right thing? It's because we don't do the right thing. Want to know why others hate Americans? It's because we don't love each other. We pit one group of people against another to scavenge for resources that are artificially made scarce. How many have seen the memes on social media that say stuff like, "We should help our homeless veterans before refugees"? Type amen and share if you agree. Fear of the other is what shapes our opinions and policies. We treat love like it's some finite commodity, like it must be earned or traded. God's love is limitless. It's not limited to Americans or Christians. Jesus is challenging us to respond to his call to come to a new understanding of what our relationships to one another should be, and to realize that if we do not have a right relationship with others, it is impossible, capital letters, for us to be in a right relationship with God. If you hate someone else, anyone else, you hate God. You deceive yourself if you think otherwise. Just where does our improper behavior lead us? The text says that it will be hellfire, but the original word is Gehenna. Not Gehenna down by Columbus, but Gehenna. Gehenna was Jerusalem's city dump. And it was in a perpetual state of burning. Can you imagine the stench? Jesus kind of uses smell-o-vision. He might have even pointed to it to illustrate that our refusal to love the other mires us in that hazy, smelly garbage dump. Now, there might be personal relationships that are beyond our ability to repair. Addictions, other forms of mental illness, they can be definite roadblocks to having the loving relationship that is our honest intent. Toxic behavior by a person can poison the ground that otherwise could be a beautiful place. Jesus doesn't command us to be a doormat. So we may have to close the door. But we shouldn't throw away the key. He does invite us to leave the light on, to keep the lines of communication open. See, time is a commodity that we can't control. So don't wait for another month to work things out with God. Amen.